Second Samuel chapter 2. In the course of time, David inquired of the Lord, "Shall I go up to one of the towns of Judah?" He asked. The Lord said, "Go up." "Where shall I go?" David asked. "To Hebron." The Lord answered. So David went up there with his 2 wives, Ahinoam of Jezreel and Abigail, the widow of Nabal of Carmel. David also took the men who were with him, each with his family, and they settled in the towns of Hebron. Then the men of Judah came, and there they anointed David king over the house of Judah. When David was told that the men of Jabesh Gilead had buried Saul, he sent messengers to them to say, "May the Lord bless you for showing this kindness to Saul your master by burying him. May the Lord now show you steadfast love and faithfulness, and I too will show you this favor because you have done this. Now be strong and courageous, for Saul your master is dead, and the house of Judah has anointed me king over them." Meanwhile Abner, son of Ner, the commander of Saul's army, took Ishbosheth, son of Saul, and brought him over to Mahanaim. He made him king over Gilead, over the Asherites, over Jezreel, over Ephraim, over Benjamin, and over all Israel. Ishbosheth, son of Saul, was 40 years old when he became king over Israel, and he reigned 2 years. But the house of Judah followed David, the time that David was king in Hebron over the house of Judah was 7 years and 6 months. Son of Ner, together with the men of Ishbosheth, went out from Mahanaim to Gibeon. Joab, son of Zeruiah, and the men of David also went out and met them by the pool of Gibeon. One group sat down on one side of the pool, and the other group sat down on the other side. Then Abner said to Joab, "Let the young men come forward and fight hand to hand in front of us. Let them do it." Joab said. So they stood up and were counted off, 12 for Benjamin, and Ishbosheth, son of Saul, and 12 for David. Each one grabbed his opponent by the head and thrust his sword into the other side, and they fell down together. So that place in Gibeon was called Helkath Hazarim. The battle that day was very fierce, and Abner and the men of Israel were defeated by David's men. Now the 3 sons of Zeruiah were there: Joab, Abishai, Abner looked behind him and asked, "Is that you, Asahel?" "It is," he answered. Then Abner said to him, "Turn aside to the right or to the left, seize one of the young men and take his armor." But Asahel would not stop chasing him. Again Abner warned Asahel, "Stop chasing me! Why should I strike you down? How could I look your brother Job in the face?" But Asahel refused to stop. So Abner struck him in the stomach with the butt of his spear, and the spear came out through his back. He fell there and died on the spot. And every man who came to the place where Asahel had fallen stood still. But Job and Abishai pursued Abner as the sun was setting. They came to the hill of Ammah near Giah, on the road to the wilderness of Gibeon. Then the men of Benjamin rallied behind Abner. They formed themselves into a group and took their stand on top of a hill. Abner called out to Job, "Must the sword devour forever? Do you not realize that this will end in bitterness? How long before you order your men to stop pursuing their brothers?" Job answered, "As surely as God lives, if you had not spoken, the men would have continued pursuing their brothers until morning." So Job blew the trumpet, and all the men stopped. They no longer pursued Israel, nor did they continue the battle. That night, Abner and his men marched through the Arabah. They crossed the Jordan, continued through the whole Bithron, and came to Mahanaim. Then Job returned from pursuing Abner, when he gathered all the men together, besides Asahel. 19 of David's men were missing, but David's men had struck down 360 Benjamites who were with Abner. They took Asahel and